everyone, and thanks for joining me on a special Easter edition, April 2020, as a local snapshot of what's happening in our property market right now. But before I jump into that, I just wanted to shoot a personal heartfelt message from my family to yours. May you have a wonderful and safe Easter period over the long weekend and enjoy getting back to basics and spending quality time at home with loved ones in isolation. Let's unite together and make sure that we adhere to government regulations and restrictions with respect to staying at home, because I'm sure that as united, proud Australians in our true Aussie spirit and determination, we will get through this time, and at the end of it, we'll reflect back on it, knowing and appreciating who and what we have around us, but more importantly, that we put the national interests at first and that of our individual health. Well, there's no doubt about it. The most common question I'm getting asked on a daily basis is, Chris, how is the property market shaping up at present with respect to the economy and the COVID-19? Well, folks, it's simply a summary of this. It is still a level playing field, both for buyers and sellers. The example that I can back this up with is that just in the last 14 days, I've actually personally placed 8 properties under contract myself. Of those 8 properties, the price was ranged from 300 to 400,000 on average as a median price. But I'm pleased to note that out of the 8 properties under contract, 6 of them went well within their advertised price range based on how they had been priced on fair market value of properties that had sold just like those homes in the prior 6 to 12 months. So what that's telling me, folks, is that 75% of the results right now that I'm achieving are still getting fair market value. And out of those 8 properties I've put under contract in the last 2 weeks, 4 of them have gone under contract in 7 days or less. Those properties that particularly present really well, are priced fairly, and have a great marketing campaign complemented by your 3D virtual tour is definitely influencing and reducing the amount of time the property's on the market for. The other thing to note with the properties that I've put under contract, out of the 8, 5 of them had actually received multiple offers in the last 14 days. So that's telling me there's still strength out there. Above 50% of properties coming to market with myself are still selling in competition via 2 or more offers. Now folks, whilst over the last few weeks we have seen a slight reduction in the amount and volume of buyer inquiries coming through, I'm very pleased to note of the buyers that we are meeting and introducing to properties privately, the quality is absolutely exceptional. In fact, I only had a conversation with a young chap the other day who is looking to purchase his first home, and he said this to me: Chris, I've been saving for 5 years to get into the great Australian dream of owning my own home. And the reality is, with record interest rates on offer right now, if I can't get into home ownership at this point in time, irrespective of all the economy and health commotion, I'm never going to get into my own home. And I thought, what a great analogy, irrespective of what's going on. This young guy, still very fortunate to be working at present, had been aspiring and saving for many years pre the events of what we're all living through together right now. And there was nothing going to stand in his way and stop him. So buyers, my tip to you is this. Number 1, make sure you are fully pre-approved with a finance approval with your bank, or ideally a broker directly. The reason being, with us having to do things privately one-on-one, we are qualifying buyers before we introduce them to a home, minimizing risk to everybody involved more intensely than ever before. Often if you don't have a pre-approval, you may be overlooked altogether in light of the environment that we're in. The second thing is that if you find a property that has majority of what you're looking for, act on it, and act on it swiftly and boldly. The reason I give these words of encouragement is that we never know when the bottom of the market is or was. In my experience, the only time we can reflect and have some consideration with respect to there being a bottom of the market is when that time has already passed, because the market's already improving and we're on the way up and we've only had the opportunity to look back and down. Now, as we all know, nationally, the virus is starting to subside a little bit, and I'm sure once this is all behind us from a health factor, we're going to see a very buoyant and positive marketplace. The reason I say this is I've got 14 years of selling experience now, and I've seen every marketplace you could imagine, but just like the GFC market, when there was cash and stimulus out in that economy and marketplace, underpinned and combined with exceptionally low interest rates, The gap to home ownership was the greatest opportunity that it ever was back in that market. And generally speaking, when there's lots of stimulus and cash in the economy, we all like to buy high ticket price items such as a home to call home. Now let's talk to you about if you're an aspiring seller and you've got to make a move in 2020. Well, I'm having conversations with many clients right now who have said to me, Chris, we're going to hold off and we're going to wait and see what comes of this virus and this marketplace. Sure, I get that, but first and foremost, always base your decisions on circumstances in terms of your next move. But just as importantly, no one can govern or control or influence where the market's going to be in 60 plus days time. Statistics right now are showing across our nation that the market is hugely undersupplied, around about 70% of homes typically on the market for sale at this time of year in comparison to 12 months ago. Now folks, in my 14 years of experience, I've never seen such a downturn in properties readily available for sale or not. As I mentioned previously, in the last 2 weeks, I've placed 8 contracts and properties under contract. However, I've only listed 1 property over the last fortnight coming to market for sale. That is unheard of for me personally. I'm somebody who generally averages 2 to 3 listings a week. So that just gives you an indication that whilst properties are selling and going under contract, I'm not able to replenish and bring to market the stock that I've put under contract to meet the needs of the future buyers that are coming into the market in the next 30 plus days. If you're a seller that has to wait and you do want to see out this time and you've got a bit of time up your sleeve, what I'm doing is I'm project managing many of my clients to get the 1%ers done and to use this downtime to finish the things off that we all neglect as busy homeowners. So whether that's the liquor paint, whether that's the improvement on the flooring, or whilst the weather's reasonable right now and we've got a long weekend, get out there and tidy up the garden, because when all this subsides, we want to make sure we beat that flurry of supply coming to market for sale, because I can assure you folks, just like spring, when September 1 rolls around, every seller has the same mindset of the birds are out, the weather is nice, let's get the home on the market now. The same's going to happen here. When things start to stabilise, the virus starts to subside even more so, the sellers that are holding on to wait and see what will come of this will all be hitting the market in the same time. And as I said to you, there's a 70% shortfall right now. If we see that influx of supply come to market in 6 to 12 plus months time, that is generally where you see a softened market for a seller, but more advantageous buying terms for you if you're a buyer. Now let's talk about landlords and tenants. Firstly, I want to commend you all. Whilst times are tough for many, there's lots of unemployment, people losing their jobs, I'm very pleased to note that in my world as a director who oversees our property management business, that tenants and landlords are genuinely trying to do the right thing in having a crack and committing to their financial obligations. I shot a video earlier the other week with respect to the 3 obligations in the property world. The first one being the bank is the business, and the landlord is their client. The landlord obviously needs a commitment fortnightly, monthly to pay that mortgage. So tenants, please understand that if a landlord has a commitment financially, you have that same financial obligation. Now there is some relief out there with lenders and banks offering interim mortgage relief, but please understand this is not a free period. Whether it be for 6 months that somebody gets mortgage relief, that time will be payable. The bank isn't in the business for free money. That landlord or any mortgage holder will have to pay that money back in due course. But also know that if there is interim mortgage relief, that the interest is compounding and bearing on the overall amount that's payable daily. Same as if you're a tenant, we are assessing tenant situations on a case-by-case basis. Obviously, we're going to show compassion and empathy when there's financial hardship and difficult circumstances, but just understand that if a landlord goes to the bank for financial assistance or hardship, there's a criteria process that they must meet. The same applies for you as a tenant. So we're going to step you through a series of questions to understand your financial hardship position. If you are granted somewhat rental relief for a period of time, just also understand, like the mortgage, it's not free money, and that money will be due and payable at some point in time within your lease terms. Folks, I'm also pleased to announce to you today that my business has gone completely digital. In fact, just this week alone, I've helped 7 homeowners understand the true value of where their property sits price-wise in today's market. Now, not one of those 7 homeowners had intentions of selling. In fact, they all reached out to me with one query. Chris, how is this economy and potentially this virus affecting my home's value? Well, it's simple as this, folks. It's called my 3-minute desktop valuation. All you need to do is send me an SMS with your property address to my mobile number, and I'll come back to you within 3 minutes to give you a desktop valuation. Now, understand, if you want to take it to the next level, we can do digital walkthroughs through Zoom conference calling or FaceTiming, or even just as simple as a conference call. But it's as simple as a quick SMS message. I'll come back to you within 3 minutes with a full desktop valuation on where your property sits with respect to the current economy and climate that we're in. Now, folks, as we know it, our small businesses locally need us more so than ever before. I've been aligning myself with many local businesses as part of local promotions to help support and back them. But today I'm going to announce to you one of my favourite little restaurants locally here in Salisbury, known as Afghan Flavour. Get on board, they're still open for takeaway meals. It's fantastic, real fresh and authentic Afghani food. They're at Shop 3, number 85 in John Street at Salisbury. The next local business I'd like to promote is 5 Star Barbers. My local barber store, great bunch of guys, local proud small medium business owners employing local people. They do a great job and they've just got a great energy and vibe. You feel good when you definitely walk out of there, and you definitely look better. 5 Star Barbers is located at Shop 188 John Street in Salisbury as well. Folks, that wraps up another episode of what's happening locally in your marketplace for the Easter-April period 2020. Thanks for joining me once again. As always, I'm putting out there more valuable content than ever before. Be sure to jump on my Facebook page, Chris Jansen Harcourts, give us a like, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bricks and Mortar TV. Many of you are finding great value in the content I'm putting out than ever before. In fact, I've had many clients reach out and connect with me and say, Chris, thanks for giving me that little hot tip and that gem in that video. It was something I wasn't privy to before. So be sure to follow my content. It's completely free. Or if you just want to chat, you know I'm always just a call, email, SMS, or private message away.